Hi, quick video here about how to avoid the bugged one-shot slash from Zalmarath in Act 2. I was really paranoid to fight this boss in hardcore, so after a lot of testing in standard, I found a few safe spots where you will never get hit by his one-shot attack. You still need to be able to tank some of his attacks, most notably the ground stab, but those shouldn't hurt too much if you have reasonable survivability. I'll leave you some examples on the screen. This is also only for normal and cruel story progression, because I don't know how much damage this boss does in maps. I'm showcasing this on my Sorc in Standard on cruel difficulty, which has basically 0 armor and evasion, just 1200 life, 1400 mana with Mind over Matter and the mana recoup belt. I would consider the first two spots I'm gonna show you 100% safe, but the last options are kind of sketchy and I'm gonna leave you with more general advice on how not to die, but let's dive right in. So for the beginning of the fight, when the boss is standing on the top right corner, your first safe spot will be in this hole here. You can move a bit forward to trigger the boss and go right back to your spot. Now the boss will only use his ground stab and white sweep with a slashing follow-up. Don't worry about the slashing attack follow-up. This will always go to the bottom right corner. After like 3 attacks he will transition to the right side of the arena and you will use the next safe spot for that area. I reset the boss a few times just to show you that this is always working. When the boss is done with his transition, and in general when the boss is on the right side of the arena, there is like a red dot on the north side of the platform right here. Just stand on the dot and you're done. This forces the boss into a very specific attack pattern where he will never be able to hit you with his slash and will only use like 2 to 3 abilities in total. If your defense isn't that great and you're having trouble tanking the ground stab, you can also move a few steps to the top left, as I'm showing you right now. As you can see, this will completely avoid the ground stab, but it will also move you closer to the shotgunning projectiles from the slash, so keep that in mind. Depending on your exact position, the boss will now sometimes use his small laser beams, he might stop use his slash, or get stuck in an infinite ground stab loop, which he will always miss. As the fight progresses, I feel keeping to the close proximity of the red dot is way easier, but your choice. To prove my point, I will literally go AFK and speed up the video for you. Sadly, you can't do this indefinitely, because after you bring the boss to about 75 to 80%, he will at some point transition to the north side of the platform, and this is where the sketchy part begins. Before I'm going to show you two options as safe spots for this, I want to give you some general positional advice for this fight. In the hours of testing I've done, there was mostly a problem when the boss is slashing from his right diagonally to his left side. Strangely enough, this didn't really happen if he slashes straight across his right side. If you're fighting this boss and you're standing anywhere opposite his slashing arm, you're basically asking to get one-shot. Also avoid going past the midway mark because they are the areas where basically every slash will shotgun you with a million rock projectiles. Now, for the two safe spots I spoke of before when the boss is standing on the northern side, depending on your kind of defense and character, you might prefer one over the other. Both of them are kind of sketchy, and I'm going to show you some clips while I'll explain the safe spots and its problems. So, for the first option, you're standing on the top left side of the arena on the small edge. This isn't really hard to reach. You don't have to roll, just walk there until your character stops moving and stay there. This spot is great for ranged characters because the boss's only ability that will ever hit you is his side sweep, which does no damage, but he will always follow up with a bucked diagonally slash. You can easily dodge roll to the bottom left to avoid his follow-up slash, but there were a few times where he kept pushing me around and I've landed in the really bad spot where people sometimes get one-shot, so yeah, this is the sketchy part. The other smaller problems with this spot are A, you're always in a bad spot to kill the ads, and B, sometimes the camera gets funky when walking or dodge rolling really close to the broken part of the platform. The second option I'm going to show you is right at the front of the platform. There's a small black crack directly in front of the other safe spot, like the red dot I showed you before. This spot isn't always available and only opens up on some of his moves, so you have to actively try to get in. This spot is great for melee because you have access to his melee hitbox. It's similar to the other spot because you will automatically dodge most of his attacks besides his fist smash, but it comes with its own set of drawbacks. So A, you can get RNG fucked and fisted like 3 times in a row, which, depending on your defense, might not be the best for your character. B, he will always move you away from the spot with his fist smash, so you actively have to try to get back in every time. And C, he is now using his slash draw. If you're standing at the correct spot, you should always miss. I even tried like running into it to actively try to die, but I don't think I've ever died to this. But I wouldn't bet my money on it that there might be some bug that you can die here as well. So if you're using this safe spot, you have to be very precise, and if you're panicking when the ads are coming, this might not be the best spot for you. If this looks too sketchy for you, I totally understand. You can just play it like you normally would, use the first two safe spots and advice I've given you before. Maybe this will help you in one way or another. Hopefully this boss will get fixed soon, because right now I feel this is the only fight that has some random bullshit that can kill you. I really enjoy fighting all of the different bosses, but I'm never really looking forward to fighting this guy. Good luck and stay safe.